Hello everyone, myself Dr. Anita Chaudhary. In today's session, we will discuss about the evaluation of computer, and the evaluation of computer is basically divided into the generations. It starts from the 1940s and up to the till date. So uh, before going in directly into the computer generations, student, I think you should go in the slides of the history of computers, where I have already discussed that the evolution of computer is starting from era of 1600, and there they are start uh, to perform calculations using the mechanical devices like rotators, and from the rotators like start from the abacus rotators, and after the first mechanical computer, which is the difference uh, system that is created by the father of the computer. And the computer is basically start its journey from the mechanical device to the electrical device, and when we move from to the electrical devices, then it start its journey from the vacuum tube to the gates to the transistors, and from the transistors to moved on the integrated chips, and from the integrated chips it is start from small size to the very large size. And now we come to the handheld devices, and now we come in the era of the artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and many more things. So before going to directly to the computers, we need to discuss about the generations. So the generations that are discussed basically on the electrical the journey from the uh, electrical equipments which are used in the genesis of the computer. So the history of computer is start from the development of the computing devices, and it is divided into the different generations based on their characteristics. So each generation of computer is characterized by major technological development, and that fundamentally change the way of the computer operates and how the results are displayed, what is the size of the devices, what is the cost of the devices, how powerful the devices are. Because earlier the devices at the starting age, the devices are not highly computing capacity, they are having a big size, their cost is also high, because at the early stage the devices are developed using the vacuum tape the tubes, and the size of the vacuum tubes, it is itself very large. So the generation is start or the evaluation is smart start from the very big size to the very small size, and from the very low speeds towards the very high speed, and they start storing the data into the punch card, or uses the concept of the punch card. Now we are using the concept of the network storages. So the first generation, that is uses the concept of the vacuum tube, and the generation is considered from 1940s to the 1956. So basically the first computer that is used the concept of the vacuum tubes for their circuit design, and use the magnetic drums for the memory. And they are basically they are very huge in their size, and consumes around a room size. So the first generation computer are relied on the machine languages, as I have already discussed, that computer basically electrical circuit is work on either off or on mode. So off mode is considered as a 0 and 1 is considered as an on. So these 0 1 concept is considered as a machine language because the circuit is either off or the on, so that complete calculations are depend on this 0 1, and that is called the machine language. And this machine language is considered as a lowest level programming language. So and that language is considered by the computer to perform any kind of operations, and the instructions are also in the 0 1 binary form. So next, the input was based on the punch card and paper tabs. So the input is taken using the punch card. The concept of the punch card is used in the first generations and paper tapes also, and the output was display on the printouts. So here we can say that the first generation computers are basically used the vacuum tubes for their connection, for their implementations and to perform the operations, and for storage they used the punch cards. So basically they are expensive to operate, and also they have very high electricity consumption and generate a lots of heat. So that is the basic malfunctioning in the first generation computers, because in the case of the high heat, the some of the circuits are burned, so after that they are not be able to work. So also in the first generation there are two type of computers are generated. First is the ENIAC and next one is the UNIVAC. So the ENIAC is the electronic numerical integrated computer, and the UNIVAC is the universal automatic computer. The ENIVAC was the first programmable general purpose electronic digital computer. So you should know that which was the first programmable general purpose computer. Then it's ANIVAC, and ANIVAC itself uses the around 18,000 of the vacuum tube and 7,200 crystal diodes and 1,500 of relays and 70,000 of resistors and 10,000 of capacitors. So approximately it's a very big in the size, and for soldering of these things around 50 lakhs so joints are connected in this ANIVAC computer. So also it's a very big. So ANIVAC used a 10 position ring counter to store di digits, and each digit require 36 vacuum tube. So the storage is also there, and it is implemented using the ring counter, because as I have already discussed that all the most of the at the initial age of the computer, when they work on the mechanical kind of things, they uh, used the concept of the circular. So it starts from the 0 to 9, and after 9 it's come to the 0, and 1 is raised as an uh, uh, carry bit. So also carries work here. So the 10 of which were the dual triode making up the flip-flop of the ring counter. So here the concept of the flip-flops is also there. So further, in order to perform arithmetic arithmetic operation that are performed using the counting pulse with the ring counter and generate the carry pulse if the counter is wrapped around the wrapped around, or we can say if the 9 position is came, and it's after moving from the 9 the carry bit is generated and it moves to the 10. So there is after 9 it automatically calculate 10. So the idea of being an electronically emulate the operations of the digital wheels of a mechanical adding machines. So the ENIAC is the programmable device, and it used the concept of the counting and rotating and flip-flops. So uh, after creating of the ENIAC, the researchers start creation of the UNIVAC. The UNIVAC was the first commercial computer that is used by the Census Bureau, US Bureau, in 1951. And the other examples of such first generation computers are the EDSAC, IBM 701, Manchester Mark 1. These are the first generation most popular computers. You can see the size of the UNIVAC is also large. And after the first generation, the moves to the second generation, that is a start from 1956 to 1963, and it is completely depends on the transistors. So in the second generation, the concept of the vacuum tubes was replaced by the transistors, and the transistors were invented at the Bell Labs in 1947. And in the second generation, the binary language, or we can say the machine language, which is work on the 0 1 digits only. So we call them binary because they are only two positions or two numbers, 0 and 1. So this binary machine language is replaced with the symbolic or assembly language, which allowed the programmer to specify the instructions in the word. Like if you want to perform addition, then instead of giving the instructions in the 0 1 form, because add you first you need to know the 0 1 pattern of the add. So instead of going on the 0 1 pattern, you just specify that a double d. Okay. For subtraction, you need to specify sub. For multiplication, you need to specify mul. So instead of remembering 0 1 pattern, you just specify their mnemonics or symbols, and that concept is called the assembly language. And it is considered the high level programming language that are also being developed at the same time, such as the Algol, COBOL, Fortran. So the COBOL and Fortran are most popular languages that are used for the computers at that time. And for the storage purpose, for storing their instructions, they have the memory. So also the concept of the drum is replaced with the magnetic core technologies. And the first generation computer were developed for the atomic energy industries. So the second generation systems are more are work on the transistors, and you can see the size of the transistor is very lesser than the size of the vacuum tubes. So after the completion of the second generation, they moved on the third generation, and the third generation time period is 1974 to 1971. And here the researchers are used the concept of the integrated circuits. So the computer are developed using the concept of the integrated circuit, in which all the electrical devices like gates, transistors, registers, all are fused on a chip, or a silicon chip, or that is called the semiconductor. So that drastically reduces the size of the computer and provide the high speed, because each and every device is located on a single chip. So next, the instead of using the punch card or the printout, user interacted with third generation computer through the keyboards and monitor. So here the concept of the keyboard and monitor is also introduced, and the concept of operating system, that is considered as an application system software. So the operating system is also introduced in the third generation, and the concept of operating system was basically to allow the devices to run many different applications at a single time, with the central program that monitor the entire system and controlling the all the applications and all the edit devices. So in the third generation, we can see that the integrated circuit concept was implemented. Keyboard, mouse, operating system is implemented. So when we further we talk, if we talk about their size, then its size is smaller than the second generation systems, and the cost is also low. The third generation computers are work on a high level languages, which are Pascal PL1, Fortran 2, 225, and COBOL, Algol 68 basic. These kind of languages are used in the third generation computers, and the example of the third computer systems are NCR 395, IBM 360, 370 series, and the B6500 series. And you can see this is the picture and the size of the IBM 360. Okay. So after completion of the third generation, the fourth generation is started from 1971 to 1990, and that used the concept of the microprocessor. So in that era, the concept of the microprocessor is used, in which there are thousands of integrated circuits were built on a single silicon chip. Okay, so the Intel 404 chip was developed in 1971, and that locate all the component of the computer that are used for their computations, like processing unit, memory, input, output, all are located on a single chip. So the communication delays less, and every device is located on a single chip. So also it affects on the size of the system. So further, in 1981, the IBM introduced its first computer for the home users or for the end users, and in 1984 Apple introduced their first computer. Okay, so next, in the fourth generation, the small computer devices are linked together, and that eventually developed the internet. So the concept of internet was introduced in the fourth generations, where we connect the independent systems with each other to perform some computations. Next, the fourth generation also saw the development of the GUI. What is GUI? GUI means graphical user interface. So end user can easily work on the system, access that system, because they are now able to understand what the computer demanding and instructions, and how we can feed the instructions, how we use the computer. It is easy. And the mouse and the handheld devices. The example of the fourth generation computers are Apple II and the Alta 8800. And you can see here, this is the wiring, and this is the microprocessors are there, and the memory segments are also there, and you can see these are the integrated circuits and transistors. Now came to the fifth generation, which is from the 1990 to the present, and this era of computation is called the artificial intelligence. Though the fifth generation computer devices are based on the artificial intelligence, or are these devices are still under the developments, and they having some ability, or you can say the capacity for analysis of data and to take the decisions or to perform some decision makings. So the computation environment goes easy. And also the voice recognition system is also there. So if you want to perform some security, then you have the voice recognition systems. And further, the use of parallel processing and superconductors is helping to make the AI a reality. So in this fifth generation system, it is more exploratory, rated towards the computation, because we have the internet at that in that era. And we have the systems that provides a very high computation as well as high storage. So by using the both the capacities like computation as well as storage, we perform the very high or big data type of applications over the network or the internet. Okay, so it introduced the innovation, that is highly sophisticated concept like AI and machine learning, and merged them with the other digital technologies like parallel processing, natural language processing, etc. So in this era, the concept of the machine learning and the AI and the NLP is highly picked peak. And the concept of the cloud computing, cluster computing, and the grid computing. So the computation is start from here. And most of the applications, like researchers said that around 90% of it, the application at the present time is running on the cloud systems or the cloud providers side. So the goal of the fifth generation computing is to develop devices that respond to a natural language input and are capable of learning and the self organization of the system. So the fifth generation are well-known example of AI in computers, and the IBM Weston, which was featured as the TV show. And the concept of the chat GPT was also introduced, and AI systems are also developed in the fifth generations. Next we come to the sixth generations, that is the future generation of the computer. As of now we are on the 2024. The most still considered as in the fifth generation as an AI continues to the development. And now we are on the phase of the quantum computing, nanotechnologies, and we are using the voice recognition system, and the augmented realities, virtual reality, and the mixed reality devices. And it's all possible because we have the AI systems. So the sixth generation systems are highly computing in the capacity, and they having the machine language, data science, data analytics technology for their boosting the decisions, and uh, to use the data for the for uh, good decisions. So now we discuss, after discussing all the generations, we highlight their important point in these further slides. The main characteristics of the first generation, that the electronic component is used the concept of the vacuum tube, the memory is the magnetic trump, the programming language, which is the machine language, that is called 0 or 1. Okay. Next, the power, it consumes huge amount of power and generate the huge heat. Next, the speed and size, the speed is very slow and the size is very large. The input and output devices are, as we have discussed, the punch card and the paper tab. The examples are ENIAC and UNIVAC systems. The quality is, they are about the 100 times different vacuum tube computer produced between 1942 to 1960. 1963. Next, the second generation systems are uses the concept of the transistor. They having the magnetic core and magnetic tape for their memory. The programming languages are the assembly languages, like we have discussed ALGOL, COBOL, and the power and the size, they consume less power than the first generation systems, and still their size is large but lesser than the first generation system, and the speed of the computer is improved over the first generation systems, and reliability is also improved in the second generation, and still the punch cards and magnetic tapes are used for the input and output devices. Next, the third generation systems, the integrated circuits are used for the electronic component, and for the memory we have the magnetic core and magnetic tape that time. So uh, next, the programming language COBOL, Pascal, Basic, Fortran are used, and the size is smaller and cheaper and the efficient than the second generation computers. The speed is also improved than the previous generation, and for the input output they used the magnetic tapes, keyboard, memory, and the printer. Next, in the fourth generation system, we have the microprocessors, and microprocessors are uses the concept of the very large scale integration, that is VLSI circuits. VLSI basically contains the thousands of transistors on a single microchip. Further, in the fourth generation, we have the concept of the memory. That memory is two types: RAM and ROM. RAM is what? Random access memory, whereas ROM is the read-only memory. You can't change the content of the ROM, whereas read random access memory, in the case of random access memory, it is a erasable volatile memory. We can say when the circuit is going off, the entire memory contents are erased, and it is used only when the system is on. You can feed the instructions into the RAM, you can store the instructions into the RAM, but they exist only up to the until the system is on. After switch off, the data goes erased. In the next fourth generation, the programming languages are the Java, JavaScript, Rust, Kotlin, Python, C Sharp. The size is small. The speed is improved over the previous systems. They uses the concept of the keyboard, pointing devices, optical scanning, monitor, printer, etc. Also, we have the concept of the network, so we can group the two or more devices to perform some computations and work simultaneously. The next, we have the fifth generation that uses the concept of the ultra large scale integrated technology, and we have the concept of the parallel processing. So the computation is high, and in the case of the fifth generations, and it is because it is uses the concept of the parallel processing. We can divide and distribute the applications to the number of system for their parallel execution, and the language, the language that is understood is the natural languages, or human languages are easily understood by the fifth generation computer, and the power consumption is lesser than the previous generation systems. Speed, because it is working on a parallel processing and work on the ultra large scale integrated technology, so speed is obviously improved in the fifth generation computers. Also, the size is small and they are portable devices. For input output devices, they have uses the concept, the basically the keyboard, pen, speech input, or we can say it is voice recognizer, light scanner is also there, printer is there. Okay, So all the smartphones, laptops, tablets are generated during the fifth generation. So this is all about the fifth generation, and now we are on the edge of the sixth generation, where we are working on the data sciences. We are talking about the data analytics. We talking about the big data. This is the edge where around 90% of applications are currently running on the cloud systems. So thank you, student. If you have any doubt, any query, you can mail me and comment me. Thank you.